it's Alexa, and today I am going to be trying something a little bit different. I realize that I read quite a few books a month, and it's mostly because I'm a fast reader and I just can't get enough of reading. I do it every single day on my commute to work and during my lunch breaks. And I realize it kind of has been making my monthly wrap-ups a wee bit long. So I was thinking maybe I could do wrap-ups twice a month and tell you guys halfway through like what I've read, what I've enjoyed, and see if I have any recommendations for you. So let me know if you think this is a good idea, if I should keep doing it like this so I can talk about the books a little bit more than I normally would. Without further ado, let me tell you about the 8 novels and the 3 comics graphic novels that I've managed to read so far this month. So as of today, this is Tuesday and I'm going to be sharing this video on Thursday, I have read a few novels. The first book that I read in the month of June was I Darkened by Kiersten White. And this is a fantasy novel that is set against the backdrop of the Ottoman Empire, particularly with relation to the character of Vlad the Impaler. The story is about his 2 children, Lada and Radu, who are left to fend for themselves in the Ottoman courts by their father when he makes an agreement with the Sultan. And these 2 just grow up with all this power play going on around them, this court intrigue, and they have to navigate their way through it. And I was so pleasantly surprised by this novel. I expected to really enjoy it, but I actually absolutely loved it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and that's only because it was a little bit tough to get used to the switching perspectives and to kind of have these characters grow on you. And what I really liked about it is the attention to detail that White has and the very twisty sort of plot that we have. And I think it was a decision on her part to split the narrative between the 2 siblings, Radu, who is a bit more subtle, quiet, but has his own way of contributing to this whole power play at the court. And then there's Lada, who's ferocious and strong and who tends to lean towards violence more than anything else as a response. And I really enjoyed it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing where Kiersten goes with the rest of the series. The second book that I read in June was Starflight by Melissa Landers, and that was definitely a change of pace. This is a science fiction novel that pretty much focuses on these 2 characters, Solara and Duran, and Solara is determined to make a new life for herself on the outer realms, which is like the far part of the solar system. And in order to get there, she needs to find a way for someone else to pay for her passage, and so she has to become an indentured servant. And that happens with her classmate / nemesis Duran. And a bunch of shenanigans ensue, but let's just say there are pirates involved. There's a group of individuals who are sort of like Six of Crows type people who are like heist ready, and it's just crazy. It's really fun. There's a great combination of characters, and I really enjoyed the plot as well. It was just very fast paced, kept moving, and then it ended on such a good note. Like, it was a solid ending, but there could be room for more, and I'm so excited to see what happens next. I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars. The next 2 books that I read are part of the same series, and they are The Heir and The Crown by Kira Cass, and I enjoyed them both collectively. Separately, I have varying opinions about them, but anyway, those 2 books are about Adeline, who is the daughter of America and Maxon, who you may remember from the first 3 books of the series. And it took a while for me to really start to appreciate Adeline for who she was and to really enjoy her as a character. And once I did, I ended up really enjoying the books. I liked seeing the selection from her perspective as the person who was going to make the choice. And I also like getting to know the boys of the selection, some of whom were really great. And of course, there was always the Max in America appearances, Adeline with her brothers, and quite a few cameos from characters you're probably gonna recognize. I really wish that it had been 1 book. I think that the first book is the stronger of the 2, and I liked the setup and everything in the first book. I was not so fond of how it ended because it felt a little too rushed, and it felt like there were some parts of the plot that kind of got swept under the rug in favor of the selection and the romance. So I gave The Heir a 3.25 out of 5 stars, and I gave The Crown a 2.5 out of 5 stars. I mean, even though my ratings aren't very high, I have to say they were still entertaining books, which is why I can say I liked them. Okay, the next 3 things I read were graphic novels or comics. I read the first 2 volumes of Giant Days, and this is basically like a graphic novel series that follows the lives of these 3 dorm mates in college and all their experiences with love and school and all of that. And it's really fun. I just don't know. I just find it very entertaining. It's very easy to read, and it's definitely a quick way of passing the time, so I really enjoyed it. I gave both volumes a 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read Robin War, which is a compilation of different comics from different series in the DC world, and it basically focuses on this thing in Gotham where there are so many people who aspire to be Robins because Robin has inspired them to kind of take matters into their own hands and be heroic and all of that. And I love it so much because it brings 4 Robins all back together: Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, and Damian Wayne, and I loved seeing them work together. I loved watching the plot unravel from start to finish. It ends pretty much exactly the way I would have expected it to end, even though I didn't want it to end that way. I hope they do another volume for it so I can read more, and I just really love the Bat Family guys, especially the Robins. I gave that one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then I went back to reading books, and the book that I chose to read was Shuffle Repeat by Jen Klein, which was lent to me by my friend Rachel from Hello Chelly, who also happened to recommend it to me. And I've got to say, it is one of the cutest contemporary YA novels that I have read so far this year. It's basically about these two individuals, Oliver and June, whose mothers have been friends for a very long time, and because June and her mom have moved to the same neighborhood, or a neighborhood that's nearby, Oliver is now going to be the person who picks her up and brings her to school so that she doesn't have to take the bus. And what starts out as something awkward and kind of like they were just thrown in together develops into something like a friendship and then maybe something more, and it's so good. It's such a great look at a senior's life in high school. It's a great look at a budding romance that goes from like not knowing each other or knowing anything about each other and becoming something special, and it was just so freaking cute. I was so in love with it, and I would really like an Oliver for myself. I laughed reading that book, I got emotional reading it, and I thought it was really great. And I gave it a 4.75 out of 5 stars. The next book that I chose to read is actually one that comes out almost at the end of the year in November, and it is Of Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. And the reason I picked up this book was because I had heard that it was a fantasy novel where a princess falls in love with the princess that her brother is betrothed to. And yes, that is a very cute part of the book. I really liked the romantic aspect of it. I thought it was handled really well, and I squeed all the time over those two. But I do feel like a lot of the things that happen are pretty typical of a fantasy and a little maybe slightly, I don't know, underdeveloped. It just didn't click for me the way I would have wanted it to. And so even though I enjoyed elements of it, the rest of it just fell flat, like the characters and individuals, the world, and even the plot. So yeah, I gave that one a 2.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read was Summer of Sloane by Erin L. Schneider, and this was a recommendation from Kristen of Super Space Chick and Rachel of Hello Chelly, and I loved it. It's a contemporary YA novel where the main character finds out at the very beginning that her best friend and her boyfriend have been keeping a secret from her. And she kind of runs away from the problem because she just so happens to be heading to Hawaii to spend time with her mom and her stepdad and her twin brother and with her friends in Hawaii. And she just has this whole summer where she experiences new things, tries new things, even meets a cute new boy, and kind of just grows up a little bit. And I'm a sucker for summer stories like that. I really love them. I think it was so fun to read about Sloane's adventures in Hawaii. It made me want to go to Hawaii, and I really like how the author tackled the various issues handled in the book. I think it's a really good take on it, and I'm glad I finally read it. And I gave that one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. And the last book that I've read as of this video is Diplomatic Immunity by Brody Ashton, which comes out this September. And I've got to say, it was very entertaining. It's a mix of so many things in my head. It kind of reminds me of Nancy Drew / Veronica Mars / a bit of Lois Lane / a bit of like Pretty Little Liars / a bit of Scandal / a bit of gossip. I mean, it's just this weird mix of things, and it actually works. It's basically about a girl named Piper who ends up getting a scholarship into this like boarding school where most of the students are kids of ambassadors and kids that have diplomatic immunity. And while she's at that school, she's determined to write a journalism piece because Piper's a reporter. She's determined to write a piece that will win her a scholarship that will help with her college degree. And she decides to write a piece about the diplomatic immunity kids and all the things they managed to get away with, which is quite a lot. And it was starting to go well, but then she starts to fall in love with one of them. And I've gotta say, I was very entertained, even though half the time I kind of wanted to scream at the main character to really think about what she was doing. I also admired her drive to get what she wanted, and I also liked the secondary characters a lot, even though we don't spend as much time with them. I like the boy in that one because he's kind of cute, even though he's also kind of like, he does things that are not necessarily things that I would want someone I was interested in to do, but yeah. So yeah, I actually really enjoyed that one, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And there you have it, guys. Those are all the books. Ooh, my phone is ringing. Those are all the books that I read in the first half of the month. And if you have read any of them, let me know what you thought. If you want to read any of them, also let me know what you thought. And do tell me what you've been reading so far this June. I hope you've had some stellar reads. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys soon. Find me on my other social media accounts below. And I would love it if you like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you next week. Goodbye!